Hi, everybody. My name is Lauren Douglas. I'm the head of marketing at Channel Factory.
And hi, I'm Marissa Solis, the SVP of Global Brand and Consumer Marketing for the National Football League.
Cool. Well, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about, you are at the NFL. Tell me a little bit about your role and what your sort of remit is for the NFL.
Yeah, so I lead the global brand for the NFL. And it's an awesome remit. It was such a challenge that it really made me want to come to the NFL. So really it's about transformation and transforming. Imagine it's a 103-year-old brand. Wow. It's an iconic brand. Everybody knows the NFL.
Absolutely.
And we call it future-proofing the brand. So you looked at the brand 5 years ago, the majority of our fan base was 50 plus, middle America, which is great. Yeah. We have a great core fan base. You look at the future of America and the changing demographics, your future fans are going to be younger, more multicultural, women.
Yeah.
So how do you take this 103-year-old brand and transform it so you can engage, in an authentic way with this new fan base?
Absolutely.
So that's my remit. It's super exciting.
I love it. So how are you guys thinking about the future audiences and how to connect with them and how to make the NFL, more future-proof, as you said?
Yeah. So it is all about humanizing the league, making it much more approachable, much more inclusive, yet modern and fun. Yeah. Right. And so we have a strategy we call helmets off.
Okay.
Literally. We're going to take the helmets off of our players so people can see what they're about. Because if probably if I ask you, what's the last time you saw, a football commercial or an NFL commercial, you see like the guys, bumping each other, scoring a touchdown.
Yeah.
And we want to, yes, that's fun, but we also want to show their human side. I mean, these players are amazing, and they take part in many verticals of life, right? So show a little bit of fashion, show a little bit of music, entertainment.
Cool.
Cause is very important. In the NFL, we believe in making a positive change in our communities, and we represent so many local communities. So there is a lot that we're doing around whether it's catching cancer early and cancer detection. It's October still, so this is the Cancer Awareness Month. Whether it's saluting our veterans, whether it's social justice, economic equality, education. I mean, there's so many things that the NFL family gets involved in.
Yeah, and
the players care about. Yeah.
Is it in the communities in which the NFL operates? So New Orleans and St. Louis. Not St. Louis anymore. I used to be in St. Louis, and we had the Rams, but they've moved. But is it in those communities where the NFL teams are, where you're really trying to invest in those communities?
There's a lot that goes on in those communities, obviously because the teams are there, and so there's a big presence. But if you think about it, I mean, some teams really expand beyond just the local community. So it does touch a broad range of America. I mean, I look at a team like the Dallas Cowboys. It's not just Dallas. It goes beyond, further into South Texas, North Texas. Same thing with like an LA Rams, or they're teams that expand. So we are able to touch pretty much, every corner of America, and now global, because we're starting to expand globally as well.
Really?
Yeah. So this year there is going to be 8 games. And they're not exhibition games. They're like league games that matter, that count.
Really? In London?
So 3 in London, 1 in Munich, 1 in Mexico City.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then in the future, we're going to keep expanding to other areas of the world.
Yeah.
Because there's tons of fans all over the world.
Is the NFL the largest sports league in the world?
Okay, so it is the largest sports league in America.
Okay.
It is not the largest in the world. Okay. Because I think about like FIFA. And soccer, but it is definitely in America, and we are just starting to expand globally. So the opportunity
is huge
to become the largest in the world is definitely there.
Wow, that's great. I mean, when you think about sort of the future of the NFL and how you build new audiences and get new, sort of the kids of today really interested in the NFL, how is it really leveraging the players to sort of like tell their stories? Is it how are you getting in sort of, so that the 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 15-year-old kids of today, like really connect with a team?
I love the question. Because yes, the players are certainly part of it, but there's a really interesting statistic. So participation in sports matters.
Absolutely.
And most of our fans become fans before the age of 18. So you're 85% more likely to love a sport and engage in the sport, if you participate in it,
right,
and if you do so before 18.
Yeah.
So participation's important.
Okay.
And we want to be inclusive, right?
Yeah.
We want to invite everybody to participate, all shapes and sizes, ability levels, genders, ethnicities. So for us, we're really looking at flag football, actually. And
really?
Flag football, we believe, is the future of our sport.
Okay.
We'll always have tackle. It's an amazing sport. But when you think about participating, it's a sport that it has the same skill set, same agility, same speed. The difference is, you're not tackling someone. You got to grab, you got to grab the flag. And so there's a big effort to really make that sport much bigger in America.
Yeah.
We want to see it sanctioned in all high schools so that it's a varsity sport. We'd
great.
love to, one day see it in the Olympics as an Olympic sport and really make it, a bigger sport.
Cool.
Because
I was going to ask because, obviously to get little girls involved would be, I'm sure is probably one of the things you think about all the time is like, how do we get, the younger generation of females to connect to football?
For sure. And
so,
interestingly enough, there are young girl tackle football teams.
Okay.
They're amazing.
Really?
But obviously we want to bring more in.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of girls that participate in flag.
Okay.
But because it's not necessarily sanctioned everywhere as a varsity sport, you'll participate in flag when you're young, and then you'll go participate in other sports so you can play varsity and then go to potentially a D1 school and play in college. So we'd love to see that so that we can develop the sport, get more girls in, get girls to play and love it and really engage with it in every area.
Yeah, right? That's really cool.
Yeah.
Just thinking about like women's college flag football, like that sounds like.
Can you imagine? It's awesome.
Really cool.
And we actually just hosted the World Games in Alabama, and flag football was a big sport. And the women's team that won is from Mexico.
Cool.
These women are unbelievable.
Right.
They're just like beasts on the field and
yeah.
athletes and just incredible. And they want to see the sport, right? Because it's such an empowering sport for young girls. Again, it's everything. Strategy, speed, agility, strength, all the things that you want, a young woman to have and be able to carry forth. Teamwork, for sure.
Yeah.
Strategy,
Totally.
all of those things.
I was going to ask, how do you think about education of international audiences or people that aren't necessarily as familiar with the American football sport? What is the NFL, and how do you think about expanding, educating, teaching people, and kind of getting them excited about it?
Yeah, it's not like a simple sport, right? There's a lot of rules. There's a lot of things that happen in the sport. So really what we're trying to do is make it fun, fun and engaging. So it starts with young people and young kids. We actually have an amazing partnership with Nickelodeon.
Okay.
And they do, I don't know if you know Young Dylan, but he has a show where he actually goes through the whole game and they explain, the rules of the game in a way that kids really participate and engage. And then they do things on the broadcast. So for example, you could have the quarterback be running the ball and he's running through hamburgers, or he gets slimed when he scores, things like that. That's definitely one way. Other ways is really making the sport more about pop culture and again, just making it fun and engaging. So I don't know if you see the Manning cast on ESPN.
No.
So the two Manning brothers, they will watch a game and comment, but it's a very different, they really get down to the rules and explain the rules in a way people have fun and understand. And,
that's awesome.
They banter back and forth. They're the Manning brothers. So things like that are really starting to open the game a lot more. We have tons of content series out there. So if you haven't checked out Hard Knocks. So Hard Knocks
I have checked
is
out
on
Hard
Netflix.
Knocks.
And it really shows you the behind the scenes of a team and how the team, prepares for the season. And all of that also kind of gives an in to not just the rules of the game and how to play the game, but really all the things that surround it. Just to, again, make it more human.
Totally. I think it's really cool. Is this something that the NFL, like, are you actually creating this content, or are you working with content creators from different walks of life to create this content?
So really a little bit of both. Okay. So we do have our NFL Films that creates a lot of the content you see, like Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
But we actually have a whole league of content creators. We call them LCCs.
Okay.
And they basically go out and capture game footage, outside the game footage, interact with players.
Nice.
Because really the way that we want to approach it and humanize it is through social media. I mean, social media
absolutely.
is it, right? So you're seeing creators interact, post stuff on TikTok, Instagram, all the different channels, and it becomes more of a thing.
Yeah.
So draft is a perfect example. Las Vegas this year. I mean, it was like the Oscars, you know, an event. You walk, I mean, the players, they're not even players yet. They're prospects. They're walking the red carpet. They're dressed to the T's. Everybody wants to know what they're wearing.
Cool.
You know, and then you go through this journey with them. I mean, to be asked to be part of an NFL team is incredible. And you see them with their families. It's a really emotional thing. You know, they're sitting there waiting, and then their name is called, and they get the jersey from their team. And I think people seeing that journey and being part of that just opens up the league in a more unique way, right? As opposed to just seeing, oh, so-and-so got picked, they're now in this team, now let's watch them play. You know? That's fun too, but
I mean, storytelling, we know this as marketers, storytelling always makes it, like, it gives more juice to the squeeze. And so to be able to tell those stories, bring those people and their families out, like, that's really, I think, you're right, it humanizes it.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
For sure.
Very cool. Are you guys using TikTok?
A lot.
Are you?
I mean, yes. Yeah, no, we have a whole ecosystem of creators that create content for TikTok. We partner a lot with influencers. Okay. So I don't know if you know, do you know Emily Zagay? Have you heard that name? So she, you know, big influencer on TikTok. She kind of takes logos, brand logos.
Yes, I do know.
And she recreates them and does kind of this funny. Yes. So she actually did it with the NFL.
Okay. With like different teams.
I think she called it Neffel. And she took our logo and like created this American flag and put Peyton Manning on it and said, you know, I'm pretty sure Peyton's the president of the NFL. You know, it was hilarious. And so we engaged with her.
Nice.
And she went and did one for the Detroit Lions, the Lines. And it was just kind of a fun banter, but it really got her audience, which otherwise wouldn't engage, you know, to come in and find out like, oh, what is this all about? So, you know, influencers like her. I mean, I don't know if you know Freddie LaPena. He's the guy with the big giant green screen. And he does like, we've engaged with him and he's done a lot of fun stuff. He came out in our kickoff spot, like our ad. So our kickoff spot this year was like this fun pep rally. I'm actually going to show it later today. Cool. It's like this fun pep rally. Yeah. And there were probably 35 different influencers in the spot. And they're like little Easter eggs because not everyone is going to recognize who these people are. Sure. But if you engage with that influencer or that audience, you know. Totally. And so it's kind of cool to we're hitting a lot of different audiences just by having, you know, Simone Biles was in the spot, Sweetie, Lil Wayne, like those are, but then we had like DJ Livia. She is a huge up and coming Latinx DJ. Ryan Garcia, he's a boxer. Like we had all these people that depending on your walk of life, you know, you would know them. We had Justine, she is the first trans cheerleader at the Carolina Panthers. Oh, cool. So she was in the spot. Like, so there's just a lot of different people that we kind of threw in this fun pep rally to show like everyone can enjoy the game. It doesn't matter what walk of life you're in, how old you are. You can really enjoy this game of football. You know, and it's good. It feels good to football. Sure. It's the spot.
Feels good to football. I love it.
Yeah, so that was kind of a fun way to bring the spot to life.
I guess one thing I would ask about is like traditional TV and like the way people watch games has obviously changed
great
so much.
Question.
So how do you want them to engage with the NFL
Yes,
now?
you know, it is it is a real challenge, right? Because linear TV, the audiences I talked about, they're not really on linear TV.
Right.
And then add to that, it's like a 4.5-hour game.
Right.
Right? So these audiences don't always engage for four and a half hours.
Right.
So it is very important that we are on, like I mentioned, social and all these different things, but from a game perspective. So this is the first year we are partnering with Amazon. So Thursday Night Football is on Amazon Prime.
Very cool.
So you're talking about this is a major platform, like 12 million viewers on any given Thursday or more.
Wow.
That, are watching this. All of a sudden you switch it up on them and you say, it's going to be streaming.
Right.
And this year, we were all on pins and needles. How is this going to work? And it's been phenomenal.
Really?
I mean, they're amazing partners. And it's so cool because sometimes I'm coming home from the airport, and I'm like, oh my God, the Thursday game's on. What am I going to do? And all I do is literally take out my phone, go to Amazon Prime, boop.
That's awesome.
Touch the button, the game's on. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And then we just launched NFL Plus,
Okay.
which is a streaming app where you can get all the games, highlights, NFL content.
Wow.
Right on your phone.
Very cool.
So again, these are things that we're starting to do now.
Yes.
I mean, I'm looking 5-10 years from now. That is how content will be consumed, right? So we need to be able to do the snackable content pieces
Totally.
on a 4.5-hour game.
Yeah.
So it's a good challenge.
Yeah, it's a great challenge. And those moments, those like big moments that happen through the game, those highlight reel moments,
Yes.
is I'm sure something you're thinking about all the time. So very cool.
Definitely.
All right, so I wanted to ask you a little bit about, obviously we're sort of in this realm of coming back together and experiences being really important, but also, coming back into offices and working together in teams again. I wanted to just get a sense from you of like, across the board, how are you thinking about being together with your teams? How are you thinking about being together with even your friends and family, where if you're going to a game together, like that in-person experience and how you're kind of navigating that today?
Yeah, I mean, the in-person experience is critical, right? And the league is actually one of the first, organizations to come back. Like we're back full time.
Totally.
Right? But at the same time, we learned the flexibility matters, right? It matters to our teams, it matters to people. So it's a bit of a balance, right? You have to have the in-person experiences because creativity and innovation and all of those great ideas and riffing off each other, it's hard to do that on Zoom,
Totally.
And so being in person is important.
Yeah.
But then, we have teams in all sorts of different places.
Sure.
And so we've learned to, now there's a way we can communicate with LA every single day.
Right.
And, if you need to be home because you have a need from a family perspective, you can still kind of plug in, right, to the office with technology. So it's a bit of a balance, right?
Absolutely.
How do you be flexible and make sure people continue to, if they need to be home?
Yeah.
But you've got to come back to the office.
Yeah.
You've got to engage.
Yeah.
You've got to have the live conversation,
Energy.
Especially in an organization that is about
Experiences.
sport and experience
Totally.
and coming together.
Yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for us, we've been back for a while.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I mean, I miss that in-person sort of bouncing ideas off of each other. But I was just talking yesterday about the worst of both worlds is going into the office and then everyone's sitting on Zoom calls next to each other.
Oh my God, yes.
Right?
It's the worst.
So how do we fix it so that we're not just trying to shove the old model into a new model, but actually think about and be thoughtful about that time that people are spending together?
Yes. Because it's the hybrid thing is hard too, because then you have some people on the screen.
Right.
So we are making a conscious effort to have like the live meetings where we all need to be there,
Totally.
and then try to be flexible too, because
Yeah.
it's hard to, not have that flexibility once people have experienced that.
Absolutely.
It's important too. So we'll find, it's kind of the new work-life balance conversation. Now
Yeah.
it's like just working, it's like location balance, I guess, conversation.
I
don't know
that's
what
right.
they'll name it, but
Yeah, I know.
very, very interesting.
I know. I think so too. It will be interesting to see how the next 5 years go and what work means in the next 5 years. What does in person mean for the next 5 years?
Yes.
I'm interested to be a part of that change and help figure out what does work.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Marissa.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.